Have you studied functions in C language? How to write a
Yes, ma'am.
function?
Yes, ma'am.
So in a function or say main, you pass some arguments to main, right? Like this. This is a Java program. Here I am passing string args, this one. In C language, we have two types of arguments: args, integer, argc, and argv. Have you seen such codes, command line arguments in C language? Okay, just have you ever wonder what that argument is for? Like in function, we pass parameters, and those parameters we use in that function. For example, if it is a add function, I'm passing two parameters, a and b. I want to perform addition of those two numbers and return the result. But why we are passing this argument here in main? So whatever the arguments that we are passing, this is called command line argument. So normally, when you run a Java program, so you need to look here. So suppose I type such Java code. Java C is a command to run to compile a Java program. So my file name is arguments.java, and it will produce .class file. And then to run a Java program, I need to interpret it with Java command. So these are the commands I have to type on a terminal or command prompt. So arguments, and then I'm passing some arguments to it. So these arguments are stored in this args variable, and note that it's of type string, and as these brackets denotes, it is array of strings. So these arguments, whatever the arguments that we pass here, these will be stored in this args array of type string. So it is like array of strings. And in Java, we can treat arrays as objects. So directly length function is applicable. So whatever the length of this args, it will print it each on a single line. So system.out.println, print args of I, that is 0, 1, and whatever the length 2. So here I am passing args 0, 1, and 2. It has displayed it on this line. So in theory, what you can say is command line arguments. Java command line argument is an argument that is passed at the time of running Java program. You're not accepting it from a user. When you type run command, at the same time you're passing arguments. And these arguments are passed from the console and can be received by Java program. It can be used as input. So in this case, the same program is written in JDB editor, and to run this, you can give command line arguments, and those arguments will be displayed here. Suppose I want to modify this program. I want to take command line arguments and perform addition of those numbers. So integer A, integer B, and integer C. So I'm accepting 3 command line arguments from the user. You can see here the line command line arguments at the end. So here we have to pass our input. Suppose I want to pass 10 space 20 space 30. Note that these inputs are considered as string. So if you want to convert, you want to perform numerical operations, you need to convert that string variable to integer variable. So here I'm using int a comma b comma c. I want to perform addition of these two numbers, say 10 and 20 only. Again, I'm using for loop because to read these arguments, these are stored. This 10 and 20 is stored in args as a string. Means if you can visualize, ARGS is an array where 10 is stored like this in double quotes and 20 will be stored like this. So whatever the arguments that we passed, it will be stored like this. In previous case, I have passed the string Cummins College of Engineering. So each word is stored as one string of the array. So here I am passing it as 10 and 20. So that 10, I want a numerical value. So for I is equal to 0, no need of for loop. I have only two parameters. So what is A? A is equal to, I want to convert string to integer. So parse, there is a command called parse integer, integer.parse. ARGS, which is an array. We have to take 0th element dot just check whether it is able to get value in A. Yes, it has read A. So same thing, I have to do it for B.
Ma'am,
That
what is parse?
parse int is actually converting string to integer. As I told you, whatever the command line arguments that we passed, it is stored in ARGS array of strings, and that is in double quotes 1 0. It is a character 1 and 0. So to convert that character 1 0 into integer value, we need this parse int command.
Why can't we only use integer, like we were changing from integer to byte or double to integer yesterday? We were just adding that in brackets.
That is not applicable for string to integer conversion. I'll explain you.
Okay.
Once you get the values in numerical format, you can perform all type of operations on it and you can display result. Here the only difference is we are not accepting data from user. You are not asking enter value of A, enter value of B. While compiling itself, you accept the input from user as a command line arguments which are stored here, and on those arguments you can perform operations. So here you are getting the result 20. Okay. If I try to convert it, instead of, okay, I have given 0 only, I have to give it 1, ARGS 1. At 0th location, it has stored 10. At first location, it has stored 20. So if you print our array, it is 10 and 20. And the addition of 10 and 20 is 30. So if I try to, instead of integer parse int, if I just write here int and run, it will give me error because incompatible type string cannot be converted to int. The type casting and type conversion that we have seen yesterday, which is applicable to compatible types, means numerical data types like integer and float can change, or you can convert integer to float or float to integer. All type of integers I'm talking about, short, byte, long, and actual integer, and double and float to each other. These are numerical data types, and second one is string data type, like string, character, array, etc. So only numerical data type can be type casted, or type conversion is applicable to numerical data types. Are you getting? Yesterday we have seen type conversion and type casting. That was applicable for numerical data types. And for string to convert string data to integer or float, we need these functions from integer class parse integer. If you want to get a double value, you need a double dot parse double. There is a class called double. So for every basic data type, inbuilt classes are there, which are called wrapper classes dot parse double. So this command is used to convert the argument into a double value, whatever is the arguments that you want. Not necessary only command line arguments, but in general, if you are accepting a string from user and you want to convert it into numerical value, then you need this integer dot parse int, or double dot parse double, or float dot parse float, these functions. Okay. So command line arguments means accepting arguments at runtime. It provides convenient way to check behavior of a program for different values. So you can pass any number of values as an argument and from the command prompt. So this ARGS, you can change the name. It's just a variable name, but the standard books, they have used ARGS because arguments. So you can put these square brackets before ARGS or after ARGS. There is no, means that doesn't make any difference. This is the syntax of array in Java. You can put these square brackets after the data type or after the variable. And you can print it like this. We have started with data types yesterday. We have seen primitive data types like integer, character, float, boolean, all primitive data types.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, instead of passing the arguments, can't we just declare them in the data type itself? Like
Yeah, yes, that we can always do, but there is one more method how to accept input directly from command prompt. In some cases, if you are writing a system program, you need to accept it from a command prompt, where directly when you run a program, as I have shown you like this here. So when you run a program on command prompt, here itself you are giving the input. So some cases you need these types of input. Instead of asking user to enter an input or hard coding it in your program, there is one more method how Java accepts input. And you should know why main is ARGS main. What is this use of this string argument here? That's why this topic I have explained you, the command line arguments. So it is used to store these arguments which are provided along with when you compile or execute your program. And these arguments will get stored here. And you can perform many operations on those arguments. Instead of passing from this, you can always define in a main, you can declare these variables, you can hard code it or accept it from the user. But this is one more method to accept input from the user.
Okay.
Now, what is an array? Have you used arrays in C language?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
How to define array in C language?
The data type and the brackets of the number of elements in the array.
Okay, means you have to, for example, I want to create array of integer. In C language, I want to create array of integer of size 5. So I'll define it like this, integer A of 5, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how to assign these values to the each element of A?
For loop.
You need to ask user enter 5 numbers. Enter 5 numbers. And in for loop, what should I do? A of I is equal to what? Scanf.
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 Percent D,
Percent D.
ampersand
Comma
A5,
A5.
ampersand
A of
AI, A
AI.
of
AI.
Here I don't need ampersand because array itself is means A itself is a address or location. And then to print these values, I need again one for loop. You have entered. Instead of scanf, I'm using printf. Percent A of I. Let's check whether it is working or not. No. It has printed. You have entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I want to give space, I can give like this. It has printed. You have entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same program I want to write in Java. So in Java, arrays are considered as objects. It is not the way you created array in C language. So arrays is an object. You can create object like this. If I want to create a person object Mary, so person is my class name, then Mary is the object name, is equal to new. New is an operator which allocates memory. So new, the class name, and opening and closing bracket and semicolon. This is how one can create an object. Person Mary is equal to new person. Similarly, if I want to create array, I have to write integer, the data type. Instead of this class name, here I am using data type integer. Name of my array, say A or my array. Opening and closing bracket. No need to mention a size here. This is just a declaration of your variable. And you are declaring it as an array variable is equal to new keyword and then again int. Int is your data type like a class name. And here you have to mention a size of array. Int A of int 5 and semicolon. This is how you can initialize an array in Java. For example, here I want to declare array of integer of size 5. So integer A of, this is just the variable declaration. I have declared A as array variable is equal to new keyword is must, new int, and then I have to define here size. So this is how I can define array. To get values in the array, instead of printf statement, I have system.out.println. Here I'll ask user enter 5 numbers. Then I need a for loop similar to C. Integer I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. And here I'll just hard code the values instead of accepting it from user. A of I. This one is similar. How to assign values to the user. Here I'll just add I plus 5. And to display that, you have entered and you have to display A of I. So assigning value to an array or using value of an array is similar to that of C. What is different is how to initialize an array.
Ma'am, one semicolon is missing.
Enter 5 numbers. Here I am not accepting it from user right now. I'll explain you how to accept inputs from user. I just assigned some hard-coded values and it is displayed like this. So what I mean to tell you that assigning value to an array element and reading or retrieving value from an array is similar to that of C. What is different is how to initialize an array. So to initialize an array in C language, we have initialized it just like this, int A of 5. But in case of Java, we have to declare it like an object. You have to use new keyword, integer A of. This is the operator of brackets, opening and closing square bracket. These brackets are mainly used to declare that this variable is an array variable. And then new integer, that is data type of size 5. This much memory will be allocated to this variable. Okay. Then there are multiple ways. Either you can use like this, int A of is equal to new int, or you can directly give the values. Assign the values, it will also initialize the array. So here, instead of using new keyword, if I directly assign some values, say 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, I won't need this for loop now. So note that comments are also similar to C. I can use multi-line comments or single line comment. C and C++. So this part is commented.
Screen is not visible.
Oh. So you can declare the array like this. Again, forgot semicolon. So here I can use single line comment or multi-line comment. Note that here I'm not mentioning the size, int A of, and you can assign the values as you want. It automatically initialize this array as integer array of size 5, depending upon the values that you pass. Note that these values should be in curly braces, separated by comma. This is another way to declare an array. So this is first way how you can declare an array. This is the second way. You can declare array of strings like this. I had just shown you integer, but string languages, and you can pass the languages similar to integer array. Array is an object. Since arrays are objects, they are allocated dynamically. So memory is allocated to an array dynamically. In case of C language or C++, we declare array with the size. So only compiler can allocate the memory, which is called static memory allocation. But in case of Java, we are using new keyword, and at runtime, depending upon the size of input, memory is allocated to an array. Arrays, like all objects, are subjected to garbage collection. We'll see what is garbage collection in future. But if that array or the memory which is allocated to it, that array is not used for a long, or the reference is not available, it can be deleted automatically by Java compiler. If there are no more references remain, then it can be subjected to garbage collection. And it supports fewer memory leaks, means memory wastage is minimum, and Java doesn't have pointers. So no need to play with single pointer or double pointer. This is very simple example again from Java complete reference. Months, I have declared an array, month days equal to new int of size 12. You can create 3 array elements. These are objects. You can create objects like this, int of, note that brackets I am using here, num, num2, num3. Or you can create like this, num of bracket, num2 of bracket, num3 of bracket. Bracket you can use either with a variable or with a data type. So here, this example, I'll just copy paste it. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here I have created a variable, integer, month, dates, and colon. So you can write that line on 2 separate lines. For example, here you can create array like this, integer, my array, and colon, semicolon. Means this is your variable. And in second line, you can define my array is equal to new int 5. So this is also one type of how you can create array. First, you define a variable like this, int month of the day. And then month of the dates, you can define new int of size 12. So you can write on a single line or 2 different lines. So here we have defined a variable month underscore dates and assigned as it is an integer array of size 12. And then for each value 0 to 11, we have assigned dates 31, 28, 31, 30 like this. And we are displaying system.out.println. April has month day of 3. How many days? So we want to check how many days April has. So if I run this code, it will show April has 30 days. If I want to check July has, so I have to give, what should be the index I should give? 6 or 7? Indexing starts from 0. So July is 7th month, but I have to give 6. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 0 is 1, means Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, and July. So I have to give 6 array index. So it's showing July has 31 days. Just to note that array assigning values to an array or retrieving values from array is similar to C++. Only the difference is how to declare an array. That's it. Have you worked on 2-dimensional arrays in C or C++? Matrix, 2D array?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So to declare 2-dimensional array, we have to do like this, right? First bracket is number of rows and second bracket is number of columns. And to accept values or to display values, we need 2 for loops, right? And 2 indices, I and j. We normally use these indices. This defines number of rows and number of columns, 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 matrix. In case of Java, similar to 1-dimensional matrix, you can create 2-dimensional matrix with this command. Type, you have to define a type first, integer, then variable name. Suppose variable name is 2D, and then we need 2 square brackets because it's a 2-dimensional array. We have to tell compiler that this 2D is a 2-dimensional integer array. That's why 2 square brackets, then new keyword, then data type, and this is number of rows and number of columns. So similar to C language, you can create the 2-dimensional array in Java. So now here I'm using three indices, I, j, and k. K I am used this variable I'm using to assign values to this array. So this is normal how you can assign values to an array. For I is equal to 0, I less than 4, 4 is number of rows, I plus plus. J is equal to 0, j less than 5, j plus plus. And the k value which is initialized to 0, I am assigning it to I and j, and I am incrementing it. So if I want to display it, it will display like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So k is just used for increment. Every value it will store and increment it. So 0 to 19, 4 by 5, total 20 values will be stored in this matrix. And it is displayed like this: space for each row, and then after end of each row, new line is introduced by system.out.println. So it will first go I0, J0, it will print K is 0. Then I0, J is 1. So K is 1, 2, 3, and 4. When J reaches to 5, it will end this for a loop and enter or increment value of I. That means second row. Second row, again 0th column. It will start with printing this value 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then after it finished, note that if we have only one line in a loop, for loop or if loop, no need to give bracket. So this for loop has only one line, this one. And at the end of this for loop, it will print new line and increment value of I. This is how your program will work. And what is the use of dynamic array? You can define different size for each column. You can manually allocate differing size for second dimension. For example, if this is not possible in C or C++, note that you have to write everything in a class. So class you can give any name. Then public static void main string args. Here I am defining a variable integer 2d with 2 square brackets and new integer. I am defining first value, that is 4. Means I know that I want 4 rows. I want this type of output. So 4 rows. So 4 rows is fixed, and number of columns I kept blank. And now for each column, 0th column size is 1, new int 1. Size of second column, that is first column, is 2 columns. I want 2 columns for first row. 0th row, I want only 1 column. For first row, I want 2 columns. For second row, I want 3 columns. So memory is allocated for 3 columns. And fourth row, 4 columns. So only this memory will be allocated like this. Or you can ask user to enter the values, or here hard-coded values of K, and then you are displaying it. But this is how memory is allocated. For 0th row, only 1 column is allocated. For second row, 2 column memory is allocated. So memory wastage is not there. If you didn't need 4 values here, you just need only 1 value, then why to waste 3 integer values? So only that part of memory can be allocated. About the operators. So all operators that you have used in C and C++, you can use in Java as it is. So just to go through, arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiplication, division. This is mod operator. These are all binary operators. Binary means it requires 2 operands to operate on. A plus B, C plus D, A minus B, A star B, A slash B, like this. So these are binary operators. Then we have some unary operators, plus plus, minus minus. So this is auto increment, auto decrement, A plus plus. So value of A is 10. After A plus plus, it will be 11. Plus equal to, this is called shorthand operator. It will perform addition and then assign the value to the result. Minus minus, minus equal to or assignment, star assignment, slash assignment, mod assignment. So these are all called arithmetic operators, and they put a result into the result will be depending upon whether you are performing operations on integer data type or float data type. Then there are operators like called bitwise operators. So it will result into true and false, negation, ampersand. It will perform bit-wise operations on each bits. 0 plus 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So this is left shift, right shift, left shift with rotation, and equal to, not equal to, etc. Then relational operations, it will result in true and false. It is mainly used to compare values. A equal to B, A not equal to B, A less than equal to B, greater than equal to B, etc. So these 6 operators are called RELOP or relational operators. Equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or equal to equal to. Actually 6 operators, this is repeat one. Then Boolean and logical operators together. This is called a tertiary operator. It acts as a if loop. If A greater than B, question mark. If the condition is true, you can write here something that will get executed. Otherwise, left side one. I can show you in C. Tertiary operator. Integer A equal to 2. Integer B equal to 3. Some example. If A greater than B, question mark, then printf hi, else printf hello. Sorry, if is not there. So this is tertiary operator, question mark, colon. So it will check this condition is true, then true part will execute, otherwise false part will execute. Here 2 is not greater than 3, that's why it has printed hello. If I change this condition, A less than B, so now it is printing hi. So it is called tertiary operator because it takes 3 arguments. First condition, then true part, and then false part. It is similar to if else. If this condition is true, if part, otherwise else part. So this operator is shown like this, question mark and colon. Then you know about assignment operator. Then precedences. If on a single line, all these operations are given, A plus B star C mod D, etc. So precedence is always given to post increment, X plus plus X minus minus. Then pre-increment or unary operations, plus plus X, negative X or not X or minus minus X. Then next preference is given to arithmetic operations. Again in that multiplication, division and mod have the same precedence, but it is above plus and subtraction and addition. Then relational operations, that is less than, greater than, equal to. Then bitwise, and lastly the assignment statement. So if you have given input like this, integer C is equal to, say, plus A minus B slash say 10 into 2. So here difference will be given to plus A, then division, then multiplication, and finally the assignment, subtraction and then assignment. So what will be the output of this statement here? Value of A is 2. So plus A will be 3. Then value of B is 3. 3 divided by 10. Instead of 10, I should take, okay, I'll make it 30. So 30 divided by 10 is 3. 3 into 2 is 6, and this is 3. 3 minus 6 will be minus 3. So you should get answer minus 3. Okay, I need to print it. We are getting result minus 3. So this is called precedence. How if in one line everything is given, how compiler treats which operation will be done first, like this. So always it will do precedence is given to pre-increment, post-increment, then multiplication and division, and then minus plus operation, and at the end it will assign this complete result, whatever the result is, to this variable. So last precedence is given, last priority is given to assignment operator. In many tests, if you appear for campus interviews and the aptitude test, you'll get such examples, small programs, and you have to find out what will be the output. If such expressions will be given, you have to find out what will be the output. So keep this in mind, how the precedence is given. Then about control statements. Again, control statements are similar to C and C++. It doesn't have included any new loop or statement. It supports if statement, if else statement. It supports switch, and the syntax of if, switch, for, while, and do while is exactly similar to C language. So if you are familiar with this syntax, no need to learn anything new for Java. So syntax of if, condition, only the thing you have to remember is condition must be Boolean. Condition should not result into integer value or some floating point value. It should always result into true and false in case of Java. So if this condition is true, it will perform this operation. If this condition is true, it will perform this operation. Else it will perform this operation. If you want more than one statements, then you need curly braces. For a single statement, curly bracket is not required. Same thing for while. While is iterative statement. It will repeat till this condition is true, and it will come out of that loop if this condition becomes false. Until and unless x is less than y, it will going to subtract x from y. Once y is less than x, you will come out of the loop. Similar do while statement. Do while statement will not check any condition first time when you enter into the loop, but while going back to do loop, you will check the condition. If this condition is true, then only you will enter into this loop. So it will perform at least one step without checking a condition. For has three conditions. 3 statements basically. This is called initialize condition. You will initialize value here. Then condition, you will check whether I is less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to. This is a condition, and it's an increment or decrement. And then you will enter into the loop if this condition is true. So how for loop executes? First it will check, initialize this value, then check the condition, enter into the loop, perform the loop, and while coming out of this loop, then it will increment it, and then again we will check the condition. If the condition is true, go to the loop, perform this operation, increment it. So it will continue till this condition is false. When the condition is false, you will come out of the for loop. So if, for, while, do while, switch, these are the control statements used in Java. Next part is string. String in our syllabus, it is not in the second unit, it is in the third unit. So I'll continue with the string in third unit. So we have seen what are the arrays and control statements. This is a switch case. Switch is a keyword. Then you have to pass some value. This can be integer or character constant. And if this value is matching with any of these case, that particular case will execute. What is the significance of break statement? What happens if you didn't use break statement? Have you studied switch case conditions?
Then all the cases will apply.
Yes, if break is not there, it will check, it will go to the next case also, if that condition is also true. And default is if this is not matching with any of the case, it will perform this and do break. Next topic is we have to start with class. How to create a class in Java. Wait a minute. So typical Java program looks like this. Some import statements like in C language or C++, we have hash include stdio.h or hash include iostring.h. In Java, we can import libraries using import keyword, import, then package name java.awt.star or java.util.star or java.lang.star, etc. Then you can start directly with the class. You should have at least one class which is public class, then class name something or other, and these are your functions or other classes will go here. And in one Java file you should have at least one public class, and that public class should have main function. So this file should be named as something or other.java. This is very important. Name of your class which has main must be a public class, and that class name should be saved as your file name, because compiler you know that execution always start from main function. So to compiler to find out where is the main is not freely available. Main is inside a class. So if you are using 100 classes in your one Java file, how can compiler find out where is the main? So that file name, the class name should be your file name. For example, here class name is something or other, so file name should be something or other .java. So in that file, compiler knows that compiler has to search in this class for main function and start execution from that. So in case of early languages like before Python, they have used only arrays concept. Arrays are of same type, homogeneous data type, integer, all elements are of type integer. If array is float, all elements are float. Some languages like Pascal, C or C++ then introduce structures or unions which are called heterogeneous data type. You can create a structure of say for student which has roll number, then name, integer roll number, then array of characters, name, and float percentage as a one data structure. And now object-oriented languages supported abstract data type, means it has heterogeneous data type along with functions. So we have variable of the various types, like I can create a class student with integer roll number, string name, float or double percentage, and also functions which are supporting used for that particular variables. So calculate percentage or display grade like this. So it has data as well as functions together. So it's an abstract data type. As we have seen in previous unit, class is collection of fields as well as variables, and it is similar to structure. I don't know whether you know structure or not, but don't worry. Even if you didn't know structure, you can learn what is a class. Class has fields or variables and functions operating on those variables. So it has variables and the functions. So class describes objects and operations defined for those objects. This is very, very important. I'll stop after this slide. I am not going to start classes, but you should know Java is case sensitive language. So if you didn't use proper name, it will treat it as a different name. So here I have used 3 names, maxval, where maxval, all variables or all characters are small case. Here maxval, max V is capital. Here M and V is capital. Even if spelling is same, but these 3 are different names in Java. I can use this as variable name, this as function name, and this is class name. It is allowed in Java. Class names, note that class name must begin with capital letter. This is a convention. Java won't give you any error if you use small case, but as a proper Java programmer, you should keep in mind all class names. Have you observed in main string arguments, S is capital, or system.out.println, that capital S is capital. Whenever the capital letter start, that means it is name of a class. So system is inbuilt class, string is inbuilt class. That's why that names are capital. All other names like function name, variable name should begin with lowercase character. Then Java subsequent words can be capitalized. The big one like maxval. After first start with small, then capital B1. Just now I have showed you parse int. Integer dot parse int. That I was capital because integer was a wrapper class. Then parse int P was small but capital. I was capital. Parse int. This is the nomenclature. Underscores are not used in the names. Instead of the dash, then B dash 1. Instead of underscore, we are capitalizing each subsequent word. These are very strong conventions, and I request you to follow these conventions whenever you type or work on Java programs. Today we'll stop here. In next lecture, we'll see how to start or how to write a Java program. So today we have seen how to create an array, single dimensional array. What are different ways to create single dimensional array? Then what are different type of operators and their precedence of operators supported in Java, different control structures, and we have started with defining a class in Java. Any queries?